Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a minute, and your girl just been going through it. I keep saying that every time I come back, but it is. Nursing school is hard, and I never struggled so much in nursing school until this semester. Like the first semester, yeah, I struggled because it's like I couldn't get my brain to understand that it's not at work anymore. So like I said before, it's like when you been the tech in a hospital for so long, and then you go and you start answering these nursing questions where everything's like strictly by the book, it messes you up. So like my first semester, that was understandable, but this freaking last semester, I was passing, but leadership was like throwing me off. And you would think leadership would have been an easy class, but not for me in this one. But that's not what this video is about. This is featuring me here. I was trying to edit the interview process and I realized I didn't say anything. So like this is me coming back to like fill in the blanks that the video leaves out. So originally I didn't plan to apply yet. So I started getting like little subtle hints for my night shift PCS right around May. Right? So I didn't plan to apply anywhere because I knew I don't officially graduate until August because I came in on a spring semester of nursing school. So I was like, okay, I'm not applying it. And then everybody was like, well, you need to go ahead and apply. You need to go ahead and apply. So I was like, okay. I did my resume. I put in my application for NICU. And then I had scheduled this interview with my NICU team member. Let me see what day it was. Okay. So like I said, I wasn't trying to apply, but like my night shift PCS was like advising me to go ahead and apply because I knew I didn't finish school until August. So I went home, did me a resume, sent it in, and then we scheduled an interview for March the 29th with NICU. Alright y'all, I am dressed for my interview. Kind of went business casual because I do work there, and hopefully it goes well. Okay, now that I'm here, I'm freaking low-key nervous. You don't work here. Oh God, why would you don't offer me the job? So I just got done with my interview. Oh, it's kind of dark in here. Sorry y'all, I'm in the garage. No, none of this works. Okay, so I just got done with my interview, and for some reason they thought I graduated in May when I graduated in August. So it was like, okay. And then she kind of threw me off because she was like, just let you know, I done hired a few people for day shift, and like there's only 3 slots left and I have 6 candidates. And I was like, because I remember when I first got here, one of the techs said that they didn't necessarily gonna hire you just because you're a tech here. So it was low-key throwing me off, and I was nervous as crap. I was stuttering over my words. I was twisting the keys. I was like very nervous and not my normal. And then another thing about me is when I'm nervous, I laugh like a lot. Like I'm a giggler. We established that, and I was like giggling so freaking bad. And like most of the questions that I had to ask them after the interview, they were already informing me of Like, I was gonna ask about like the on-call, or what's the mandate, or do they have a mandate? And what else I was gonna ask them? I was gonna ask them about vacation, about like was I going to be training on day shift or night shift? Because I remember when I first got here, I was training on day shift, even though I was a night shift person. And it was like so much. So like now I'm like, okay, I don't really have anything to do. Plus, I feel like some of the things I was saying was making me sound like a horrible candidate. Like I said, I'm over, I do critique myself a lot, because I do, like, I'm the type of person, if I say something or something happens, I will constantly rethink of that situation and think about how I could have did this different, how I could have did that different, how could I improve, what I could have said in the moment. And that's what I'm low-key feeling right now. I'm not even gonna cap to you. So it was like, I feel like when I told them I overly critiqued myself, and then I said, I couldn't think of the word critique. So it was like, I was stuttering, and then it was bad. And then she was asking me about myself. I couldn't even think of what to say about myself. And then she was asking me, like, what about the babies do I like? And then, I know this is low-key morbid, I love the thinking about how to help the baby if they're like crashing, or how to get them to feed better, how to get them to latch on. Like, what positions can I change to, like, I couldn't even say that in the interview. So it was like, that threw me off. But then after we got through that part, I calmed down. Then I had my dumb ass mission that I didn't like cleaning. Why would I do that? Like, you don't mention anything about what you don't like about an aspect of a job. I feel like I fucked myself up in that interview. And then, like, the first half was horrible. But then the second half, it got so much better, and I finally calmed down, because they were like making jokes, and it started feeling easier. And like, yeah, so let's see. They said they'll talk to me back in May, and they'll talk to me in May and see how the positionings are lining up with the needs of the job. Like, because I'm kind of at a disadvantage graduating in August, because I have all these people around me that's graduating in May, and they have all these positions open now for May, and they thought I was graduating in May. That's why they did this interview. But I'm like, no, I'm graduating in August. So she said she'll talk to me in May and see. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but I'm gonna just keep working. So I went in for this interview, and I was nervous as crap, and it did not go good at all. Oh, sorry. It did not go good at all. So honestly, I got the vibe that my director didn't like me. So when we went into this interview, she said something that I think I took out of proportion. Not even out of proportion. I took out of context. Well, I'm assuming I took this out of context, because, like, I don't know. It didn't sit right with my soul. So she kept saying, like, when I first got into the interview, she said, so I'm going to treat you like any other candidate. That was fine with me. She's like, I'm going to let you know, they got 5 positions here. I already hired 3, and it's between you and 3 other girls. So I was like, okay. So that already took my nervousness and just, like, raised it up. So then after that, like, I kept stumbling over my words. I couldn't figure out what I was trying to say. And then she had asked me, what do I like about the NICU babies? And I was trying to explain it, but I ended up saying something like, oh, like, as a tech here, Like, I value being over an intermediate, like, over cleaning beds. Well, that wasn't what I was trying to say. I understood that beds was important, but I was trying to explain to her that, like, the intermediate side is what was drawing me to want to apply here, because I love, like, watching the baby finally get to suck and swallow. And I could not get that out because my head had already, like, oh, you ain't got this job. So then finally, another day shift PCS came in with my director, and after that I just like calmed down. She made me feel at home. She made the interview feel like home, and not this nervous process. It's like two friends just chatting when came in, and it made me feel like I had the job. And then we were talking about everything that will happen. Oh, you got not sprayed on my camera. We were talking about everything, the hiring process and the training process for NICU. And then at the like, do you have any questions for me? And then I had, let me pull up my interview questions if I still have it. Oh, where is it? Yeah, here go my interview questions. So these are the interview questions I had. So these interview questions I kept for both interviews. I was like, what's your on-call requirements? Do I train on nights or days? Do I have to be floated to pick you? And how long before I do? Tuition reimbursement, weekend holidays requirement, vacation process. Do you have any mandates? Nurse to patient ratio, pay, and sign-on bonus. Those are the main questions I had. So then, I keep saying this lady name. Then the night shift PCS and so the night shift PCS and the director was answering these questions. And then at the end of the interview, what really made me feel like I didn't get the job was her saying, well, I can't vouch for you. The only one that can vouch for, I can just vouch for your attendance. The only one that can vouch for you is your night shift PCS, who has been vouching for you. And it like, that's the one that I took out of context. I was like, what you mean you can't vouch for me? You were the one who were in my hiring process. You worked with me. You see all but good recommendations from all my night shift people. How can you not vouch for that as an employee, a good employee that you love and you have? But I took it out of context. I got it in my head, and then I went home and I was like ranting to my brother and my best friend, because I'm the type of person, like, I have to think things over. Like, I will keep constantly playing stuff over, what I should have said, what I shouldn't did, how this was interpreted, how did they say this. So I'm that type of person that will constantly keep replaying stuff, and I just like, oh, I didn't get this job. So that's how I felt leaving my NICU interview. So I was like, okay, I stopped worrying about it, because I was like, I don't graduate August, and once August comes, then I start applying. Now, mind you, there's another college, four-year college, that everybody, four-year college, and the college that I go to, the technical college I go to, and a few other technical colleges that was all graduating in May. So, in hindsight, applying early was better. So, I say, like, not even... Oh, let me, yeah, I got little videos. I'm trying to figure out the dates. So at the beginning of April, the hospital that I work at, recruiters were calling everybody in my cohort. So my friend gave me the heads up about it, because her recruiter had already called her. And my recruiter called me, and she was like, so what areas are you interested in, or do you know what areas are you interested in, because I can see you on either one. And I said, well, I'm interested in NICU and labor and delivery. And she's like, okay, well, I can set you up an interview for NICU. And I said, well, I already had my interview for NICU. And I was like, that's where I work. She's like, okay. And then she was like, well, I set you up with the interviewer for labor and delivery. So my interview is set for April the 12th. Y'all, sorry for this quick intro, but today is Monday, not Monday, Wednesday, and I have an interview with labor and delivery. So this is a fit. All right. I'll talk to y'all when I get back. I went there, I arrived, the recruiter was not there. Not the recruiter, the director was not there. They wasn't even aware that I had an interview set up. So then I started talking to the director of postpartum, and then she was like, we just started chit-chatting and was talking about life, and then she was like, well, just come back tomorrow. She will be here. And I had my clinical that day, and I told her that. So she said, just come after your clinical. So I came dressed in my clinical uniform for this interview, and again, she was not there. So then the postpartum lady took my number down, emailed the recruiter to set up another email, emailed the recruiter for labor and delivery to set me up another interview. Sorry, I feel like I got a burp. And she was like, well, I don't think they have any nurses position open. They probably just have a nurse extern, so you should probably come in as a nurse extern. And I was like, I'm not a graduate. Why would I come in as a nurse extern and leave my job that I'm already in? That was my thought process, but I didn't say that out loud. And so fast forward to, what day did I actually have this interview? April the 19th is the day that I actually had the interview. Y'all, I look like crap because I'm hot and sweaty, and this makeup is horrible off me now. But Lord, that was a good interview. God, that was a good interview. So, I had a coughing fest when I got there, so that was crap. And I feel like I was babbling and I couldn't get my words right. But like, I'm shadowing Tuesday. So like, I come there Tuesday at 7:30 to shadow. So one, that's great. And then I come there Tuesday at 7:30 shadow. And Tuesday at 7:30 shadow, and she was like, expect a call. And she's like, expect a call. And then she said, like, what would NICU say? Again, the director was not there, but the two day shift PCSs was there. So then we started having this interview process, and it went really good. Like, it was like I was just, because one of the PCSs was someone who trained me during my clinical rotation, and I loved her, and it was going so freaking good. And it was to the point where she was like, do you feel like you had, if you've seen enough, or do you want to shadow? And I was like, I want to shadow. Like, I could never turn that down. And then she was like, what is NICU gonna say? And I was like, ma'am? She's like, what's NICU gonna say when you leave them? And I was like, oh. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. I was like, I tend to try to stay, my mom always taught me, never bite the hands that feed you. Like, if you're going to get hired there, put in your due time. That's how my mom always installed into me about jobs. So like, I never left a job more than, like, the longest, like, I never left a job before 3 years. Every job I ever had, I've been there for like 3 years or above. So like the hospital I'm at in general, I've been there for 5 years. But the department I was before, the ED, I was there for 3 years. NICU, I've been here for 2 years, almost either, yeah, 2 years. It'd be 2 years it'd be 2 years in October. So I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I will be, if I don't get the job in NICU, but then get the job at labor and delivery, I will be leaving there early. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to handle that. So I'm here, I'm showering, and then let me scrub this chamber too. So, wait, wish me luck. If I can get these over my pant. Okay. So it's 12:30 and my nurse is on lunch, and I am standing by the vending machine eating nutty butter because I kind of wanted to see a delivery today, so let's pray they pull me in for that. So I went April the 25th to shadow, and that will be that little clip that you seen me in the scrubs. That was the day I was shadowing. So then I left, and I was like, I didn't get a call for a week. So I was like, okay, maybe I didn't do as good. And then my friend who recruiter called her about the labor and delivery in the ED. She actually had an interview with the NICU director, and they exchanged phone numbers. So I'm like, okay, obviously I didn't get the job. Then I started hearing 2 other girls had already got hired from my cohort to labor and delivery, and I was like, okay, so I didn't get that job or NICU. And I was like spiraling, trying to figure out where I was going next, actually. So then all of a sudden I get the job from both. I get the job offer from both. The recruiter called me and she's like, well, NICU is offering you straight nights or a rotating shift, full-time position. And she says labor and delivery is offering you full-time position. And what kind of threw me off was she was like, well, NICU then accepted so many people. They don't really have people for labor and delivery. Labor and delivery is very selective, and they offer you that one position. I was like, okay, way to determine what I'm gonna go. I'm like, you're supposed to be a recruiter for women's health, not just for labor and delivery. Like, it's supposed to be NICU, peds. It's supposed to be like NICU, peds, and NICU, peds, PICU, and labor and delivery and postpartum. All that falls under the woman health at our hospital. You're their recruiter, not just like a delivery recruiter. And I was like, dang, way to put pressure. So I was like, can I at least get some time to think about this? Because like in a day, I needed time to think about this. So then she calls me back the next day, and I was like, I'm still thinking. Then we start playing phone tags once. I went to my old PCS for advice from the ED. I went with my mom, my best friends, my coworker. Well, two of my coworkers. I went to them for advice. 2 coworkers that I'm really close with. I went to them for advice, and I went to my friend that had also interviewed in the ED for advice, the ED in labor and delivery for advice. So then finally I came up with the decision, and then we started paying phone tag, like I said, and now I am officially not telling you. Not yet. I'm telling you, when I finish my penning and I pass my NCLEX, then I will tell you what I had decided. Either I'm a NICU nurse or a labor and delivery nurse. Stay tuned and find out.